Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my trusty sidekick, my partner in crime. Really, the best way to describe this person is my everything. It's at Eric Delala.
Phil, what's good?
What's good? It's time. It's time to go. We're looking ahead at camp.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
You can't wait, huh?
Like a Bart Scott situation.
Is it time to ride or no?
Not quite yet, but we're getting close.
Yeah. Like maybe
I would say like
up.
let's prepare to ride.
Let's prepare to ride. Got it.
Yeah.
That's not as catchy.
No, but it's apt.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
It's very accurate. Week 2 of our special 3-week stretch here of the Neutral Zone. Our countdown to camp series continuing on here. Today, we're talking about who is the number one offensive weapon for Russell Wilson and the Broncos offense.
Dang.
A lot of offenses, I think I just said there.
A lot of offensive weapons for the offensive systems offense.
Yeah, offensive side of the ball. I think that's what I'm trying
Ben
to say.
Swanson's leaving work behind us.
Uh-oh. Ben Swanson. Who's going to monitor the voicemail?
I don't know.
We're going to have a lot of voicemails when we
I hope so.
return, when we're ready for camp here. Camp just a couple weeks away now.
So close I can taste it.
What have you been doing with your downtime here, though?
No, I just been next door in the office. Working. Maybe people have been reading some Broncos camp questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are those out now?
They are. They're trickling out.
Nice. Okay. I mean,
One almost every weekday.
wow. That's a lot.
That's so many.
That's a lot. Okay, well, we're talking about the number one weapon for Russell Wilson in this Broncos offense. Who would you say that is, in your opinion?
This is going to surprise you, I think.
Who is it?
What do you think I'm going to say?
Probably Cortland Sutton.
When this first
think
entered
about
my
weapons?
brain,
Yeah.
I thought Cortland Sutton.
That's what I thought you were going
And I think Cortland Sutton is the top wide receiver on this offense. And I'll tell you why. You like that? That's a little radio trick we do.
Wow.
I think that despite Jerry Jeudy's talent, Cortland Sutton has proven he can do this. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's had an 1,100-yard season. He's had a season with more than 5 touchdowns. So far in OTAs, when we watch those, when they needed a big play in traffic, it's clear that Russ trusts Cortland Sutton. So those are the reasons, and we can go back to that, why I think Cortland is probably ahead of Jerry Jeudy. But when I thought about it more, I think it's actually Javonte Williams.
Wow. So in the business here, we like to call that a hedge.
No,
You say a lot of nice things about Cortland Sutton, then you'd say, but actually it's Javonte Williams.
No, I think
And now tell me why about this one.
Now I'm going to tell you why. I just think the more I think about it, when the Broncos are going to be in the red zone a lot.
Oh, scoring tubs.
And as opposed to last year when teams could key on the run game and force the Broncos to beat them with the passing game, I think it's going to be the opposite this year, where teams are going to say, we have to find a way to slow this passing attack down. And I don't think it's going to be as even a split with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams as it was last year. I think there's going to be times when the Broncos just need to kill the clock, where they want to get some tough yards. Maybe the threat of Javonte Williams will open up the play-action game. I just think that as this season goes along, the running game, which Nathaniel Hackett, everyone talks about the passing game. Nathaniel Hackett keeps bringing up the run game a lot.
Yep.
I think it's going to be more a part of this offense than people think, and it really would not surprise me if you look up at the end of the year and Javonte's got 10 touchdowns.
Wow. That would make him a decent offensive weapon.
Yeah.
So you don't think that Melvin Gordon and Javonte, you don't think that's split? What do you think that's going to be?
I think it's going to be closer to like a 65-35
Really?
situation.
Oh, interesting.
I think Javonte is going to – you always hear about people taking a step forward in year 2.
Yeah.
There's no reason why Javonte can't do that.
Yep.
I think he's going to be too good at times to take out of games. And I think that both his ability to carry the ball and like get yards when you need it, get touchdowns in the red zone, that sort of thing is big. But then talk about offensive weapon, offensive threat. I think the idea of Javonte Williams will create problems for defenses because you're going to want to just worry about Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and Alberto and Tim Patrick. But if you don't account for Javonte Williams, well, he's going to run over you. with a light box. And then if you do account for Javonte Williams and you say, okay, now we got to stop this guy, then the threat of play action is going to let Russ throw moon balls.
I like moon balls.
And so I think, especially outside zone scheme, a lot of the times these schemes revolve around that running game, that running back. I think Javonte might be a little bit under the radar.
I agree. Maybe not enough people are talking about Javonte Williams because I do think that what he did as a rookie was pretty rare, and for him to even take another step forward, I think that would be impressive. I do think that the way Javonte runs, he benefits from having a guy like Melvin Gordon and having more of a split, because when he's out there, he could go the usual Javonte beast crazy. So, but Eric, I think that the interesting thing about like being afraid of the pass versus being afraid of the run, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. It's like which one comes first? And like unless there's a reason to be afraid of the passing game, then you're not going to be like, you know what I mean? Like in order to be afraid of the passing game, there's got to be a reason, I guess, you know what I mean? So,
but I think Javonte, like with this system in particular, getting that running game going, so you have to respect the pass is really important. And so that's where, you know, a lot of this could depend on how well Javonte runs the football.
Let me read some stats to you.
I like this.
Okay. What does this sound like? 75 receptions.
Okay.
967 yards. And 12 touchdowns.
Sounds like a DK Metcalf stat line.
That's a DK Metcalf stat from 2021 when Russ did not have his best season. Okay? That sounds like a number one offensive weapon to me. That sounds like what Courtland Sutton could be.
Oh, you think it's Courtland Sutton?
I sort of do think that Courtland Sutton is going to be the number one offensive weapon. When I first thought about this, Eric, when this first entered my brain...
Didn't we record some training camp shows where you said Jerry Jeudy?
When it first entered my brain...
That's hedging on different platforms. That's the smart way to do it.
That's next level.
You're like, if Courtland does it, I point to the neutral zone. If it's Jerry Jeudy, I point to this.
Yeah, exactly. See, when I first thought about it, I thought, okay, Jerry Jeudy is about to just explode here. Just because I feel like Jerry Jeudy, maybe more than anybody else, is going to benefit from Russ. Because my notion of Jerry Jeudy is that he is a tremendous route runner, and you need a good quarterback to find that guy. And my sense is that Jerry is probably open more times and just didn't get a look.
Yep.
So when you know that he's going to be open and you have a guy like Russ, he's going to benefit a lot. But I've seen Courtland Sutton do it, so I'm more likely to just go that direction. Now, Sutton had 58 catches, 776 yards, and just 2 touchdowns last year. So I think that he could get into that DK area, that stratosphere. Similar builds. Obviously, DK is a special talent. But I do think that Sutton has a chemistry with Russell Wilson. I have noticed that during the offseason program, when it was needed, boom, Sutton. And the moon balls and that kind of just like, you know, when they say when Russ gets out of the pocket, it's like a second play starts. I feel like in those situations, Sutton and him, that chemistry is going to really shine. And so look for Russ when he gets out of the pocket to go deep to Courtland Sutton. And I think that makes Sutton the number one offensive weapon. Yeah,
you know, and I think that's all a good point.
I mean, multiple points.
Yeah, all combined one good point. I'll count it as one just in case it's right.
You say nice points.
My only concern in terms of picking a receiver is that there's so many weapons to throw the ball to.
Yep.
That
hard to pick one.
Yeah, like in Seattle, they had weapons, obviously Lockett, DK Metcalf, but the options were a little bit more limited, and so you kind of knew who they're going to. In Green Bay, with Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett's system, you're going to Devontae Adams a lot.
Yeah.
The Broncos have a lot of guys that I think are all, like I would say Courtland and Jerry are about the same skill level or like pretty close. Tim Patrick is obviously right there too.
We haven't talked about Tim much, but he was probably the most productive receiver the Broncos had last season.
And the year before that.
Yeah. I mean, he found the end zone a lot, red zone target, big guy.
Yeah, I saw an article that was asking for a first-time Pro Bowler for each team, and Tim Patrick was the guy that was picked for the Broncos. you're right. We haven't talked about him enough, and I think it's just kind of the nature of being an undrafted guy that you're always going to be a little bit overlooked. And Cortland's been a Pro Bowler. Jerry's a top 15 pick. Tim I think he embraces that almost.
Yes, he plays with fire.
But between those three guys, KJ Hamler, Albert O, Greg Dulcich, there's a lot of mouths to feed. And it's not just about, who does Russ decide to throw to, but the way that I expect Nathaniel Hackett to set up this offense, I think there might be, like, play design-wise, I don't know that you're going to see, like, 15 plays a game designed to go to Cortland Sutton. It's probably going to be much more distributed in terms of who's the first option, who's the second option. So
what do you think the run to throw, how do you think that's going to shake out?
Obviously it depends a little bit on how many plays you get, but I would guess we'd see Russ throw it about 30 times a game.
I think so.
And then maybe you get
25 carries.
Yeah, 25 carries. That's only 55 plays. That's not a lot. You'd like to be in the 70 area.
If you're taking some shots down the field, though, that minimizes your plays. So this isn't the Teddy Bridgewater.
No, but yeah, most teams are 60 to 70, somewhere in there, if you're winning. So maybe you push the. I think it's going to be a lot closer to an even split than people think.
Okay.
I think you're going to see, so I could see a situation where Javonte gets 20 carries a game.
Wow.
And Melvin gets 10.
Wow.
Or, Javonte gets 18 and Melvin gets 12. Like something where you can see that there's a difference.
Because, like, say if you're a fantasy football person,
right,
you might be hesitant to pick Javonte because of Melvin.
Of course.
So, like, your argument that there's a lot of mouths to feed, I think that sort of applies to the running back.
Oh, it absolutely does. So. It applies to both things, but that's a two-person race as opposed to 5 or 6. But again, when we talk about weapon, is that a guy that, like, does that mean the guy with the most touchdowns, or does that mean the guy that the defense has to respect the most?
Yeah. I think probably the respect
and so that might depend week to week on, does a defense feel like, hey, we got to stop Javonte because he'll kill us, or do we got to stop Cortland, or do we need to stop Jerry in the slot because we don't have a guy that can cover somebody in the slot? I think that's the beauty of this, is that the Broncos have a lot of different ways, at least hypothetically on paper, that they can win.
I would say that looking at the division, looking at how some of these matchups will stack up, you could be looking at some higher scoring affairs. So maybe airing it out too. I could see them trying to air it out a little bit more. Like, you're facing the Chiefs. You don't want it to turn into a shootout, but it could.
It definitely could. But you look at you go up, maybe you play a defense that's designed to stop the pass, or the Chargers, for example, are designed to get after the passer. Yep. Their secondary is really good. Maybe you just try to run them, wear them down with the run game. Again, just a lot of different options here. I think any one of those guys, Cortland, Jerry, Javonte.
Yeah, no bad answer, really.
No, which is good for us.
That's a nice problem.
Good for us, too.
Good for us or for Russ?
Good for us, good for us.
Yeah, good for us.
If it's good for us, it's good for us.
Good for us. Excuse me? Eric, one more of these special neutrals. Do you like the special ones? Or?
I miss the voicemails. I miss the shout-outs. But
me too. Me too.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. We'll get back to that.
We'll be back soon.
We got a big episode when camp
starts. Oh, of course.
That's going to be.
Oh, man.
That's going to be nice.
Can you imagine?
Should we tease the next special one, though?
I think so.
On our countdown to camp
I think
series?
so.
You're not going to want to miss.
No.
This next, the finale of our countdown to camp. We'll tell you which Broncos player is most likely to make the Pro Bowl.
Ooh.
No Pro Bowlers last year.
No Pro Bowlers. Absurd.
Shut out.
Absurd.
But this year, who's most likely?
It might not be who you think.
It might. Stay tuned.
You'll never guess.
That's next week.
That's right.
In our finale.
Yep.
So a big one coming up there. Until then, for Eric Dalala, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.